this has to be the early signs of something that's dramatically going to change the way we list and sell real estate. What do you think, Seth?
Totally agree. I think ChatGPT, and not just for work and not just for real estate, we're talking about for everything we do. This is momentous. And as much as I'd love to think that, we've got thousands of people wanting to see this, Tom, I think the Australian community, I think a lot of the people you work with who are at the cutting edge have sort of recognized this and have said, you know what, something's changed. I haven't quite figured out what it is yet. And I'm hoping you and I today, Tom, can start to explore and maybe start to peel back some of the layers around what this could look like. So it's going to be a good session. I'm pumped.
Okay. So handing over to Seth Watts, who is one of the founders of Campaign Agent, who's going to give you on this Tech Tuesday by Realtor an overview of ChatGPT, GPT, and AI as it relates to real estate in Australia and New Zealand.
All of us have an obligation to figure out how we can integrate this into our day-to-day, because this is going to lead to better outcomes for you, better outcomes for your business, better outcomes for your vendors, and I might even say better outcomes for the people around you who you love and care about, because it really is a tool that can do pretty much everything. So I'm going to start with some real estate specific examples. So firstly, everybody for the last 20 years is telling us that with social media, we all need to be in the content game. We all need to create amazing content. We need to have a social media presence. We need to engage with our customers. We need to create relevant, insightful, local, important information. Let's get ChatGPT to do our first EA example here. So what I'm going to do, Tom, I am going to drop into CoreLogic. And what I've done is I've just picked some market insights. I've just used their standard old feature down here and said, what's happening in Hawthorne, Victoria in the last 60 days? And I'm going to copy that information. So all I've done is let's copy it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that into ChatGPT. Now, Tom, next step I'm going to do is I'm going to also copy in a request. So I'm going to say, I'd like it to write a 400-word market report for Hawthorne in Victoria using the data above. I'm then going to tell it my target market is vendors in the area who are considering selling their property. But you know what? I don't want to give them data. I want to paint a positive picture of that data, Tom, and I want to encourage them to reach out to me. I'm a salesman. I need to get a listing. So we click enter, and then what it's going to do now is essentially going to do that pitch that I asked. Now, for some of you, this may be too positive. That's okay. So we can tone it down. But what it is going to do is give you a really fast way to take small amounts of data, small amounts of insight, and turn it into beautiful long-term content. So we're going to do some really nice stuff. And as you can see, it's taken all of that data. It's given me a relevant, timely, accurate summary of what's happening. It's put it into a positive tone of voice, and it's helped me take what in essence was a bunch of numbers and paint a picture for vendors that I'm somebody you should list with, because this is a great market. Okay, let's do another one here. Let's stop generating. Okay, anybody ever received a message like this from realestate.com? How much have you listed this property for? Or what's happening with this property? I'd like to visit it. Now, I'm in the market to buy a property down in the Mornington Peninsula, Tom. I've done this a couple of times to agents. And listen, most of the time I get a decent response, but it's not inspiring. So let me give you an example. Let's put in a prompt on top of this. So let's just go through, and I'm going to cut and paste. Again, write an upbeat and positive response to the email below that I received. Now, I want everybody on this call to think about, you could send a basic response that's accurate, professional, or you could send this. And what this is doing, Tom, is giving me the ability for every single annoying buyer inquiry that I have to deal with, 50, 60, 70, 100 a week, and it is giving me the ability to create a bespoke, custom, empathetic, engaging piece of communication that's going to stand me in good stead in front of that buyer every single time at scale. So it means that I can take a frustrating part of my job, dealing with unspecific buyer inquiries that come through from real estate, Tom, and turn it into a fantastic marketing opportunity with no effort from myself. And you imagine the buyer experience, right? You know, every other real estate agent is sending out, come see me at the open, we're listing it for 2.2, or you get this. And my argument to the group on this call, Tom, is that this experience is going to create a point of difference. And once ChatGPT becomes standard, if you're not doing it, you're dead, because buyers' expectations are going to go through the roof. But while you're at it, let's get a competitive advantage out of this. Yeah, one of the reasons people who are on this call Tom, is they want to be better estate agents. They want to be more successful. And what I'm exploring now with ChatGPT is how can I be a better professional using this technology? So this is an example of a prompt, and I'm saying I'm a real estate agent, and I tell it a bit about myself. I've sold 25 properties in my local area successfully over the past year. But I have a problem. See, I'm really good when I've got an analytical vendor. When I've got an accountant, I list it every time. But when I meet a buyer who's more emotional, more conversational, I'm not very good. Could you act as a coach to me and provide me tips on how to engage with these people? And so this is an example of me thinking about what am I good at and what am I bad at? And by the way, if you're bad with analytical vendors, just change this prompt around. But this now allows ChatGPT to help you as a person think about what my strengths and weaknesses are, enhance my strengths, and help me develop my weaknesses. And so it's going to go through and become a personal sales coach to me. This is one that I think is a really interesting example, because this is starting to think a little bit left field. But let's just say you're a real estate agent in Chatswood or Box Hill, and you've got a large number of Chinese Australian, Vietnamese Australian, Greek Australian, doesn't matter, whatever. And let's just say that you want to do a better job of understanding how you can engage across communities or across cultures. Guess what ChatGPT will do for you? It can say, could you share the business norms and practices that are expected in the Chinese community that will help me present my services in a better light? I should change that, a better light. And what it'll do now is it's now a personal sales coach giving me cross-cultural advice, so that when I'm dealing with communities that maybe I'm not as familiar with, or I don't have as much context as to how to create value for them, it will actually help me better understand that particular community. So if you're walking into a vendor who's from a professional background, an educational background, a cultural background, and you want to make an impression, for Christ's sake, team, come onto ChatGPT, explain who you're going to meet with, and do a bit of prep work, right? I personally don't have a lot of experience about Chinese business etiquette, but you know what? I've now got 5 or 6 really great things that I can think about: respect hierarchy, build relationships, how do I handle business cards, modesty, indirect communication, and face. So really nice example for everybody in this call. And again, I want everybody to think about more broadly, where do I struggle as a sales agent? How can I get a personal coach on every single listing? So it's no longer about me as a person individually, it's about how do I think about every single sale as an opportunity to be better?